You're now listening to the Zod and Drea podcast.
What up?
Hey, everybody.
Hey, we're back once again. On what?
On Zod and Drea podcast?
Yeah, because I'm the one who says it every week. I'm like, you know what? Why don't you say it once?
I was like, what do you think we're doing?
I'm like, geez. I say it every week. Yeah, but we're talking to the audience.
Yes,
you know?
we are. Welcome, guys.
All right, there we go. I should make you take lead.
Make me?
Yeah, make you take lead.
Make me.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah. We are ready to have our next podcast today.
That's right. All right, I'll take lead. Hey, welcome, guys. I hope you guys had a great weekend and a great week. Of course, we're here at the Zod and Drea podcast, ready to take on another challenging topic because that's just what we do. So, let's, well, first of all, you know what I want to talk about real quick is some of the things that we have coming up this week because, of course, we got our little trip. Now, people, I think we may have talked about what we were going to do last week, but we kind of switched up a little bit. So, what we're going to do is we're going to, what?
We're going to go throughout a road trip to California.
Yep.
And make some stops there, looking at probably mid-California, Northern California. And then on our way back to Phoenix, we're going to hit the Grand Canyon.
Yeah. So hopefully we can even go through Las Vegas because we're going to need to stop through all the desert and everything, all the nonsense.
Yeah.
So we may have to stop through, what do you mean? Yeah, you don't like Vegas?
No, I love Vegas.
Oh,
so what
okay.
I mean is when I'm thinking of the long desert trip and from the barren land.
Yeah. So it might be better to stop off at Vegas real quick and then make our way up to the Grand Canyon.
We have fun in Vegas.
Yeah, we always, trust me, we have some fun time.
Vegas.
So if you can, try to follow us on all of our social networks because we're going to wind up posting a lot of pictures on what we do. And, it's going to be a crazy week. So, of course, we're going to broadcast our next podcast on the road.
And, guys, I'm going to lose my mind because even though I'm a native of Arizona, I've never actually been to the Grand Canyon.
So, this is crazy. Anyway, we're going to talk about it a little later, so let's get into what we're going to be talking about. Of course, politics is crazy, and we're going to talk about Hollywood and politics and how it kind of merges sometimes. Is it good or bad?
Is it good or bad? We're going to talk about some of the Kathy Griffin episode, the Johnny Depp stuff, so we'll talk a little bit about that.
And, of course, on the entertainment side, if you haven't seen it, you better see it. That's Spider-Man Homecoming. That's it, man. That was a really good movie and a good interpretation on what's already been out there done twice in Hollywood, really. And, of course, our topic of today is...
Do you consider virtual or online sex cheating? I know we had a discussion about this.
All right. Yes, we did. So, let's get into it. We're going to talk about Hollywood and politics because it's been something that's obviously been getting a lot more momentum, especially since Obama, I think. I think, there have been a little bit, but it was more like the politician was the Hollywood guy, such as when Bill Clinton ran Hollywood. He was Hollywood. He did that. You remember he would go on TV. I mean, they all go on TV, but you remember when Bill Clinton did the sax on Arsenio Hall's show, and he was the Hollywood. He brought the Hollywood in and made it almost like the politician could be a superstar.
Well, and then if you think about it, during even the Vietnam War, a lot of actors, a lot of artists even came up and protested about the war too. So this has actually been hand in hand for since the 60s.
As a protester, they have. But talking about how they are so deeply ingrained in Hollywood, to where their opinions actually matter a lot. I mean, you're right. It's like, what's my girl? Jane Fonda.
Yes.
Do you remember Jane Fonda? Jane Fonda was
They
big.
called her a communist.
And they called her everything. She was for hating and knocking on the Vietnam War. I mean, they're killing all of our Americans. She speaks out about it, and all of a sudden she's a communist, and she didn't let that any of that tidbit help her hurt her, and she just kept doing her thing. Whereas today's world, now, speaking out against a war is one thing. Now it's not being scared to go after the politician or the actual president themselves, and...
Well, look at the season of Saturday Night Live. best ratings they've had in I don't know how many years, and pretty much every other skit was based on the current administration and mocking them.
Oh yeah, but I mean the thing is about Saturday Night Live is at least they pretty much mock that. What's different I think about this one is this administration gives so much material. Mm-hmm. Like it's an oddball administration. It doesn't make sense. There are people who just don't care what they do, and so they do it. Every turn of the corner, there's something ridiculous. So of course Hollywood is like, oh, I'm gonna mock this, or when you wind up seeing something that's so ridiculous that you just have to speak on it. And I think that's what happens where, comedians then cross lines. There were comedians who crossed all kinds of lines when Obama was president. And not a comedian, but Hollywood, such as who's that douchebag?
Which one?
Ted Nugent.
Ew.
Calling for pretty much his head and, calling to kill him and craziness. And then, of course, like you said, Kathy Griffin, a comedian, she said, she prefaced it like, oh my God, this is either going to destroy my career or whatever, but she did it anyway, which is just a photo shoot of what looked like a Trump head, all bloody, and holding it up. And that cost her, her jobs and some other things, but
different contracts.
What's the difference between her and, let's say, someone like Howard Stern or Andrew Dice Clay, who wind up doing things so hardcore or saying certain things that are so,
Rush Limbaugh. I mean, he gets away with saying so many horrible things.
Yeah, I mean, he's supposed to be a news guy, but but it's the same thing. I mean, he's not Hollywood necessarily, but. When Hollywood crosses over into that, they're untouched. But when Kathy Griffin does something, it's like, oh, and he broke me. It's like, I think she did show weakness, and she shouldn't have. She should have buckled down, because he buckles down. Trump buckles down on everything. She should have buckled down. And what? It had nothing to do with ISIS. ISIS isn't the only people that chop off heads. I mean, the French had been chopping off heads for centuries with their guillotine. What? Because they outlawed it today. Like it doesn't. We got serial killers out here chopping off heads. So
do you think then Hollywood really has any major influence on the voter population?
And that's the whole point. Like, a lot of the conservatives are like, oh, why is Hollywood even in on this? Hollywood, they're all mad because Hollywood was, look at, you had Jay-Z and Beyonce and all these other people for Hillary Clinton, and they didn't work, as influence, and it didn't work.
Right.
I think that they're another mouthpiece and maybe someone to look into, but, I mean, are we really going to say the popularity of Scott Baio and Antonio Sabato Jr. Like they're the star power that got Trump elected? No, it was a whole bunch of technical stuff. Considering more people voted for Hillary Clinton, so
then do you think Hollywood needs to draw back a little bit now because their influence wasn't as what they wanted it to be?
No, because I don't think that they do it as Hollywood. They do it as individuals. When Johnny Depp said something, about the president and whatever that was negative, that was Johnny Depp. He didn't go to his agent and say, I'm going to say this. I don't know if Kathy Griffin went to her agent and said, hey, Hollywood is backing this stunt. I think people do it as individuals just as everybody else does, just as we do. And we have our own opinion.
And then you've always got the Twitter.
You always got Twitter.
Now let's talk about Spider-Man Homecoming.
All right.
Now, I'm not a big Spider-Man fan. Wasn't a fan of the whole Tobey Maguire series that they had. And then they switched it up with Amazing Spider-Man, right? With Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand the first one. I thought he was a jerk. I could not stand it. The second one was a lot better because that one had a Mr. Electro.
That's funny. You like all the characters. You like all the crazy shit that goes on.
I do. I'm like, beat him up. Take down Spider-Man. That Andrew Garfield character was such a jerk. He was like a stalker. I could not stand him. Yeah, and so this one, I was like, all right, my expectations weren't that high. And I really liked it.
Yeah, this one was a really good one with Tom Holland. Because the thing is, in the whole Peter Parker stories, is he's supposed to look like he's in high school. He's supposed to be a kid. He's like 14, 15 years old. So, of course, they bypass all the origin story because it's been done twice with Garfield and Maguire. So they're like, you know what, let's just not even deal with this on his own movie. He was already Spider-Man. What it does is it opens up and it takes place. First, it takes place because before the opening credits, it winds up taking place right after the Avengers. And the cleanup starts because they got to clean up all the Chitauri crap and everything else that went in.
That was kind of cool to see.
Yeah, the Avengers building is a mess, and they're kind of cleaning that up. And so, of course, Toombs, who's played by Michael Keaton, he has a whole crew that's cleaning up the Grand Central Station after the whole Avengers debacle. And then Stark's crew comes in, throws him out after he already like put a whole bunch of money in the cleanup crew, knowing he was going to wind up getting a whole bunch of dough, for the contract from the city. And so, of course, that puts Stark on his radar, but also sends him into, I guess, a life of crime, selling some of the alien technology and repurposing it for weapons. And it's funny because that's what's been happening on some of the other little shows that they had been doing. I don't know if you know.
What?
Hey, you know what? Oh man, that's funny. Okay, I'm sorry. There's something called Marvel one-shots. And what
What's
they do, they're little tiny Marvel films they put out. Usually I think on DVDs, but they're usually out. And there was one right after the Avengers called, it was a Marvel one-shot. But what it was these guys who have this alien tech, and they're trying to rob a bank or something, this guy and this girl. And they have alien tech trying to rob, but they have alien technology, like guns. And it's funny now that they make this with Tooms. I see that they actually put back. I'm sorry, guys. I just thought about this now, but they connected that so many years later now that they more than likely got it from being sold from Tooms.
Oh, from his black market.
Yeah, from his black market, which is funny. But the whole thing about it is he then makes a living in the criminal underworld doing this. And Spider-Man, he's going off to Berlin. The next scene is Spider-Man going off to Berlin. Which is, of course, years later after the Civil War, during the Civil War. And this was his thing where Tony Stark had found him, made him a new suit and everything else, and he goes off to Berlin to fight the Avengers, as we saw in the Civil War movie. So everything is connecting really nicely, but we also get to see Peter Parker as a kid. And that's what I like. We get to see him develop as a kid and whatever, and he's just like such a fanboy of Mr. Stark, and oh my god, I'm a hero, but I can't say anything, and until his friend finds out and just wants to spill it to everybody. Of course, there's love and affection, and he wants with this one girl, Liz, and there's another crazy girl played by Zendaya who's funny. And
who made the movie for me. I loved her character.
Yeah, she's a funny character. Michelle. And then, of course, we have everything in between, which is why Spider-Man, he wants to prove himself, but he has to go after Tooms, who is Vulture. He out of the alien tech, he makes himself a Vulture outfit.
Oh, so that was his name, Vulture?
But it wasn't official. But in the comic book, that's who Vulture is.
Oh,
but
okay.
It's not like he called himself Vulture. But what they said in the movie is, the guy dressed like a vulture. That's what he called. And of course, him grandstanding and everything else, trying to be Spider-Man and doing all these little things. It benches him from Stark. So he has to separate Spider-Man. The kid has to separate Spider-Man from who he is. So, I like that scene where he said, if the suit makes you, then,
you don't need it.
You don't need it. So, we went into that, and you can read on the review on the Zod Andrea website, but I thought it was a really good movie.
And you brought out some points in your review that I didn't even match up together.
Yeah?
Yeah, about,
sure?
yeah. Some about how it overlaps in the different histories of where some of the Avengers came into place. But you guys got to read it. It was good. And, of course, you had the hot Aunt May.
Oh, Aunt May was in there, yeah. She was funny. She was the last word, and she was hilarious. But make sure you go and check out the movie, because it's really good. I can't wait to see it. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Zod.
And I'm Drea.
And we want you to check out the Zod and Drea podcast every Tuesday.
Where can everybody find us at?
You can always check us out on www.zodandrea.com.
Where else?
You can always check us out also on Facebook at Zod Andrea.
Instagram?
Zod Andrea.
Snapchat?
Zod and Drea.
YouTube?
Zod and Drea.
I see a pattern.
So if you haven't caught that, catch us at Zod and Drea on all the social networks. But also, make sure you subscribe to the Zod and Drea podcast. Where?
At zodandrea.com.
And also on YouTube and iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. We're coming for you.
Let us know what you think, and if you want to be a guest, reach out to us.
And put all of your input into whatever our topics are for the week. So we hope to check you out and see you there.
Bye!
Okay, let's get started on this topic. I really want to get this started. So, the topic today is, do you consider virtual or online sex cheating? And I came across an article this week about virtual reality pornography that's coming out now. Now, it's the next wave of consumers taking in the pornography that they like. What the difference, though, with the virtual reality pornography that's coming out is that you need the VR glasses, right? So it's a lot more interactive than before. So before, being that voyeur, right, of watching somebody either perform or strip, that was the point of or the main attraction then for pornography for decades and almost centuries, I guess, if you really want to go back that far. But now with the virtual world, you have to participate. So it's you and that other person. Let's just say you're in a room, you're in that virtual room with that girl. Your hand touches her, or something that looks like your hand. You are touching her butt. You're touching her breast.
You aren't touching shit. You're touching air.
But it looks like your senses.
Your avatar is touching something.
Senses, when you look at it, it's your hands. Because I saw on, I pulled up a bunch of videos on how, I was just curious, like, how do you do this? How is it that I'm touching somebody? And sure enough, when you have that certain program on and you've got those glasses, you look like you're in a college dorm room with a guy or a girl and you're getting it on. It looks like it. It really does. So for those that maybe just don't have that type of experience just yet, could this be then that they are having an affair? And so I was reading this article, and this married guy with 2 kids, said that he then participated in a virtual reality room, got the VR glasses, and he felt guilty. And he didn't even do the entire sex act with his VR girl that he was in this room with.
That he's willing to admit.
Yeah, right. He just said that when he touched her with this virtual hand, thinking that he touched her, it messed up with his mind, and he felt guilty. He immediately shut it down and thought, and because he got a reaction, whether that he wanted to admit that he actually got a hard on or anything else, but he got excited, and for him, it messed up his mind. And then he went into this whole mindset of conversation of, was that cheating? Did I cheat on my wife?
Man, I think he's weak.
No,
okay? Like sitting there bitching about, then what did you do it for? My thing is this. Do I consider it cheating? I think that's held up to the individual on how the individual feels.
Mm-hmm.
Is that cheating too? And what is your reason for cheating? If you feel guilt, then yes, you're cheating on someone because, you have an emotional reaction to it. If you don't, you're like, hey, this is just a part of porn. And this is the way that I, communicate through porn, then fine. It's everything that we have gone up to this far. I mean, we're talking about from the Karma Sutra to, going to little strip clubs and whatever. Now it's in your home on, remember on VHS tapes, and then, first it was movie theaters, then it was VHS tapes, and then the
magazines,
magazines,
out.
magazines, and then, the internet. And now this is just another step into it. I don't think anything necessarily adds to. I think it depends on what a couple will do with the technology that makes it either more exciting or less exciting. And if technology is increasing, technology is always improving itself. Technology is always going, but somebody who has the standards of an 18th century Victorian, little Mayfair lady, on a plantation, and you haven't advanced with it, then I can't say that that's the fault of the technology that's there. That's you not taking advantage of it. Like, to me, that's you not taking it. Oh, whoa, the morals. It's like, please don't bring morals and all this into it, and old school Christianity and my moral beliefs in Christianity says that I shouldn't. Jesus didn't have Pornhub. Okay, things are different. He didn't have virtual glasses. People, I think, should wind up adjusting to, as a couple, to adjust towards. And if somebody's not giving their spouse or their significant other something, and someone's driving, I'm not saying it's driving them to, because you got to work on everything first. But then they wind up as a result of putting on these glasses just to have an experience. Like, you have to ask why they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you doing it? And not just 3D glasses, but why are you sexting? Why are you going to strip clubs? Why are you doing this or that? And I'm not, look, fantasy is fantasy. Fantasy is everybody has them. They all do something. Someone will masturbate to something. We all have a fantasy. So whatever your fantasy is that you're achieving to strive towards, you shouldn't have somebody that you're dating who's trying to hold you back from that. Me personally.
Do you think then that the innovations for viewing, for pornography are constantly changing and updating because of the suppression that people feel that with not having people to
No.
share, like always feeling like, oh, I can't share this. I'm gonna be made feel wrong because I want to see this, so I want to hide it. I want to suppress it. So do you think that it continues to grow and grow because of that suppression?
I think that there is a suppression, but I don't think that's why porn is doing it. I think porn is doing it to make money.
Oh,
Porn is
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to get ahead of the game. They're like, look, the magazines weren't working. We got to take it to VHS. Oh, my God, we're making billions off of this. Oh, no, these these DVDs are coming out. We better switch over to this. Oh, man, we're good. Oh, shit, the internet is out, and it's destroying our entire thing. We got to come with something that, okay, now we're going to market the virtual online. We're going to do that and put that out ourselves. And they're just trying to stay up with everything. I think what it is people have been trying to suppress porn. Like, it's there. Naked people are there. Exhibitionists are there. Swing clubs are there. Swingers have been out there forever. People who swap with other partners on some, like, kick, they're out there. These people who say they are, look at the Vatican. Okay, the Vatican.
Oh my gosh, what happened last week?
The Vatican just had a bust with a gay sex orgy. Like, who knows how long that's been going on? But there are like cardinals and all these, like, just going buck wild. That's been happening in churches forever. The same people, Republicans busted in bathrooms and all this other stuff. Like, we're gonna make sure
yeah, at the airport.
all that, make sure all gay rights aren't. We don't like the gay people, and then all of a sudden they're busted like with a gay guy. Like, it's crazy. I think it's people they fight against. They fight against their own interests, and they are interested. So I hate when people use, what people pretty much do is they try to use some sort of form of morality to guilt people. And that's what they do, to guilt people into not liking something. So the technology is going to be there, but they try to keep people down. A lot of times women.
Well, morality is used for power.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's all power. And they usually towards women. Usually, the same rules never apply for men that they do for women. The women, no, you're not supposed to be. Please, they're freaks out there. People, the women aren't supposed to, you're not supposed to do this. But then the dude goes to the strip club. What are you looking at the strip club? Are you looking at other men? No, you're going over there to have a fantasy about a woman. So even that is low-tech virtual fantasy at the strip club. You're touching because you're putting dollars in everything. You may go get a lap dance at a table dance. Is that cheating? So my whole thing with, like, is it cheating or not? It's how you feel about it. It's your response. If you're sitting there, you put on the goggles and, oh my God, I'm touching somebody. Okay, but are you really interacting with this person? And does this person even know who the fuck you are? Do they know you? Do they know your wife and all that other stuff?
They don't know who you are, but they are the other end user on the other side. So let's just say it's a guy and a girl, right? A guy gets into a virtual room, right? So there's a girl. There's usually either a webcam girl or some type of girl, that is on the other end user, or maybe a guy. Who knows, that their avatar is a woman. But then they come into the room together and they perform a sex act together, whether it's oral, whether it's penetration, don't know. So there are two users.
So there are two users, but is it a video game? So, and then you almost have to say, okay, am I cheating? Oh my God. So then I put on the same goggles, I go and play, whatever one of these freaking games. I forget all the names of these games. And then I start shooting up a whole bunch of my friends. Am I really killing my friends?
No, you're not. You're not killing them.
Do I have guilt when I slaughter my friend with a machete because, it's like,
I don't know.
Right? My avatar just killed, little Jimmy. And like, oh, you killed me. Oh, hey, sorry, Jimmy, that's the rules. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
So how are we going to pick one against the other?
Because of the morality that's tied to either one. Morality
of killing people. And then that means there's a difference between a morality of having sex and pleasuring than killing someone and destroying someone's.
I'm just saying that what you're seeing society do now.
I'm just saying. So is it cheating? Like, it's what somebody else does. Like, some people don't like the video games because they're too realistic. They're like, oh, these are too realistic. I don't like this. I'm going to put this down and, okay, fine. They have a moral thing. Like, it's too. I feel like I killed little Jimmy. And I can respect that. Somebody's like, okay, I'm this is just a little too close to cheating on somebody like this. I'm like, I better get out. I think the difference between the two also is if you have feelings.
Yeah.
If you wind up doing this, and this, remember, we've had plenty of conversations with about webcam porn and how the guys react towards it. They are interacting with is
bunch of suckers.
Yeah.
Just spending their money all the time.
Spending their money on these women, and these women remember their usernames, but these guys, you have to read the conversations, because what's interesting and fascinating is how they dig. Oh my God, oh, my wife is asleep, so I came to visit you. Like it's like, whoa. Once it becomes a secret, I think you're kind of cheating a little bit, man. Like once it's a secret, so it's like, you and I, virtual girl, you and I have this secret, but we got to keep this away from my wife.
Yeah, and I can only do this when the kids are asleep and when the wife's asleep.
And I'm going to make sure I pay you money and make sure that you get the boob job and go to college and finish college, because that's why you're doing this.
In fact, I'm going to pay your rent, so this way you don't have to worry. I'm going to be your one and only main web person that you're going to have that room with, and this way you don't have to work and you can be in front of the camera for me all the time.
Even worse is competing against the other guys for her attention. Well, I'm going to tip her 1,000 tokens. Look at me. I'm the man. Everybody praise me.
Bunch of suckers.
Like, dude, okay, so you just paid her 1,000 something to a stranger, a virtual stranger. Well, even though she's real somewhere in the planet, you don't know who she is, you don't know her name, you don't know what her situation is.
You don't know a damn thing about her.
Your girlfriend is asleep, your wife is asleep, the kids are asleep, and you gave her $1,000 because you wanted to show up everybody else in the room because you're the man. Like, at what expense? So to me, I can't say it's cheating because the guy feels no guilt for it, but if he is sitting there hiding, then yeah, under definition, I believe it is.
No, yeah, exactly. That's how I feel too. Like, if you got to hide it and you get these feelings, then then you got to observe that and figure out why am I doing this? My concern though, regarding the virtual room and that virtual a way to deliver pornography is how violent it can get, because there's now this whole new way of not subculture. It's just now all these new porn sites that are out that are all about hurting the woman, about violent.
But they've been on. Like,
but there's a lot more.
Think about it this way.
Sticking a girl's head in the toilet and like only getting women of color and degrading them.
They've had that. Those are and they're absolutely ridiculous. But there's some that have been more than others. It's just they've come more so up to the front. They've bubbled up to where it's almost norm.
It's horrible.
Porn has been racist. Like, it's been like that, and it's weird because it's a double-edged sword where it's for women and against women, because women get paid way more than guys do.
They do, and then you've got now all of these guys with their own little cameras trying to go around and be this director and film these girls being beat up, because they do that. They'll beat them up, they'll gangbang them.
No, but think about it. I'm not saying women put themselves in this situation, but they put themselves in this situation, like they get hired to do this crazy shit.
But now it's out there, and say you have, now an 8-year-old can pull up porn right now, a 10-year-old. So you've got people, and maybe even just a guy that doesn't even really interact in the world, or a girl that doesn't interact in the world. They see this, and are they then going to take it up to where this is how reality is?
No, we can't have to. Like, even though it can, but again, we're talking about the sex and violence. So then does the violence do the same thing? It's like trying to connect the serial killer. Is it because he watched a whole bunch of video games?
It's been studied that it has an influence.
No, it's been studied that it doesn't have an influence.
It didn't make him pull the trigger.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it can't necessarily mean. It depends on how he's going to grow up. But remember, there's also been dominatrix porn out there. Women beating up guys. It's been out there. Like, it's an actual thing where the dominatrix guys get who was your boy? David Carradine was doing some old crazy shit to himself.
Right.
That got him killed. It's out there. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, which it isn't. You shouldn't beat up women sexually, and I would hope that women wouldn't put themselves, but they do. They put themselves in there to get gangbanged by 40 guys. It's like, what are you fucking doing? And then, after, like, the second guy, you're like, this isn't really a turn on. Like, I'm not sure, like, what's the point? Where is the point? And I think the problem with that virtuality is the guys who get off on the violence of it.
That's what I'm concerned about. So
it's not the sex of it, but the violence of it. So it's like, okay, what are you hiding? Is it because you can't rape someone? It's almost like, well, this is the closest I can get.
And that is my concern, is now all of a sudden you've got all these sites that are promoting that. So.
Oh, my God. But you want to see something crazy? Look up rape fantasy and find out how many women have rape fantasies.
That I know of, yeah.
Like, there's no such thing as normal. So I can't put anything on that type of porn, this type of porn. Is it cheating or not? That's going to be up to the listener or the viewer, but,
But, that's what a conversation you need to have then, especially if you're in a relationship. Like, look at it. Maybe it's something you can both view together. I don't know.
And that's what I'm saying. I think it's something that people should do together, whether it's webcam porn or whatever. It's like, hey, you know what? Let's put on something that it might lead to something. Maybe you want to explore. Maybe you want to do something a little bit more dangerous. So you're doing research on it. Not dangerous, but swinging or
consensual
something.
fun.
It's like, look, let's spice up some shit. Let's not be that boring couple down the street. Or I don't want to die being boring. So you might look at it that way. But if you're doing it alone and you're doing it because it's behind someone's back, yeah, whatever.
Then that's not so cool.
Yes.
This is good.
Yeah, this is a good topic. So make sure you check us out, ZodAndrea.com and at ZodAndrea on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, wherever you can find us. And also, we've added SoundCloud. So make sure you subscribe there as well as YouTube.
And also participate in our trip with us. We're going to have a lot of videos and a lot of Snapchat going on. So this way you can share in our experience.
And some of the live stuff that we're going to be doing on Facebook and some of the other things. Oh, Periscope. Make sure you check out our Periscope, all right? We'll talk to you later.